In this video I'm sharing a quiet week in my studio, printing and making mini flower zines, putting together spring packs and reflecting on why not every creative week needs to look busy or inspiring to be valid. This week hasn't been exciting or dramatic at all. We've not gone any fancy trips. We've not done anything wild and wonderful. There's been a storm. I'm sure if you're in the UK you'll have encountered it. It has been crazy. The wind was so bad. So it's made me stay inside and just hunker down. I've been working on my computer, drawing on my iPad, all these things that go on behind the scenes that you don't really get to see on videos very much. And for a long time, I used to think that things like that didn't really count. What's the point in recording them things? They're a little bit boring and mundane. And there has to be something big or something wonderful to share when you make one of these videos for YouTube, because why would somebody tune in and just watch somebody drawing on an iPad? So I've changed my mind about that in some way, because life isn't big and dramatic all the time. It's not always going out and having adventures. It's not always being dressed and wearing a bra. It's not always having the right thing to say or the right thing to do. It's just generally a bit like Groundhog Day, isn't it? So you get up in the morning, I feed the dog, I make my breakfast, I wash the pots, I read my Bible, I come up here and I think, right, what work have I got to do today? It's the same thing day after day, and it's the moments when we go out on an adventure or we visit a gallery or, you know, something out of the ordinary, or there's a new piece of equipment to try or something. They're the things that are like exciting, but life isn't like that all the time. It's not every day of excitement. And I've really been tuning into that lately, how as this channel grows and progresses, I want it to be authentic. I mean, it's always been authentic. I'm always just me. If I'm exactly the same here as if you met me in person, it's not like I'm different. But what I mean is, I want it to be where people are watching are not feeling bad about themselves. They're not feeling like, oh, well, I'm not doing what they're doing, so life must be boring, because it's not like that at all. I think we've been taught, especially with creativity, that it has to look like something. It has to be exciting all the time. It has to be a certain way to be valid. And life isn't like that. You know, sometimes there's spontaneity. Sometimes you'll get something and it's like, oh, really inspired, and you carry on with that thing. But a lot of the time, it's all the things that you don't see. The times where you might just be sat thinking. You might not be creating anything. You might not be doing anything, but you might just be sat thinking. Or you might just go and sit at the park and need that time. Or like me, I love being in the bath. I just love the bath. You might just want to lie in the bath and just contemplate and maybe not even think of anything. And all those bits are really important too. A lot of real life looks like what I've been videoing today, especially when you run a small business. So I think when you say to people that you're an artist, they just imagine that you paint all day. Now, wouldn't that be nice? But there's lots of other stuff that you've got to do. And I don't know about you, but when I'm packing orders, for example, or earlier when I was folding zines, and I thought, oh, you should really be recording this for YouTube. You should really be videoing this. You know, this will make up your YouTube video. And then sometimes I just think, I don't want to record it. I just want to get on with it. Because that's the other part. There's so many elements that you've got to do, especially as a woman. You know, you've got to look after the house. You've got to build your relationships up. You've got to look after your family maybe. And at the same time, you've got to do all this kind of thing. And I always find weeks like this really tricky to film, because it feels like there's nothing to actually show you. No adventures, no big moments. But this is actually real life. This is what creative life actually does look like a lot of the time. You know, and those days where you get to paint or you get to do something wonderful, they're the rare moments that are cherished. But a lot of it does look just like this. Maybe it's because we've confused interesting with worthy. Like, the difference between, is this interesting? Is somebody going to be interested in this? Is this worthy of me taking the time to video it? Is this, have I done enough to create a video? Have I done enough to talk to you and for you to have my attention and time? Because I do appreciate that you are giving me your time when you're watching these videos. But, you know, quiet weeks are still part of the work. So if it was all just adventure and things like that, when would the work get done? When would the designing these things get done? It just wouldn't happen, would it? You know, when would the sitting here folding zines get done? It just wouldn't happen. And there's something really grounding actually about repetitive work, about printing, cutting, packing, one small task at a time. You know, I sit most of the time here in my studio and I'm doing things like folding zines or packing orders, and I've got my iPad on and I'm watching other people's YouTube videos on my iPad or watching a film on my iPad, and it's just me and the work doing the things. It doesn't feel dramatic, but it does feel steady, and sometimes that's exactly what we need. We need that repetitive, steady calmness to balance out the enjoyment of the excitement and adventures. I didn't push myself this week. I didn't try and make it look like it was more than it actually is. I just did what was in front of me, and the most important thing this week it was that I need to make these spring packs up ready and get them on my Etsy, filming them, creating them, getting them on my Etsy shop to hopefully sell them. And because it's towards the end of the month and next month the rent's due, and that's life. That's like real life. And I'm learning that this kind of productivity doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be showy. You know, it's not like, ta-da, here's my latest painting. It just has to be meaningful. When I finished these zines yesterday and I printed them and I started sitting here folding them, I was like, oh, I've made these, I've made this thing. And that feeling, it just fills your soul. It does. It's that feeling of you get something blank and then you create something, and then at the end you go, I made that, I did that, I painted it, I baked it, I decorated it, whatever it is, however creative you are. When you've got that thing at the end and you go, I did that, that is like a massive, well, for me, it's a massive feeling of accomplishment. Does it feel like that for you? Like when you've created something, at the end, are you like, oh, that was really good? And the whole process of it is part of it, because you don't just get something like a blank piece of paper or a plain room and then ta-da, it's done. There's that middle bit, and that middle work sometimes looks from the outside in to be the most, not boring, but like, what's the word? The most mundane, I suppose. But actually, when you're the one doing that thing, it isn't mundane. It's really lovely. If you're baking a cake and you see the ingredients coming together, you put it in the oven, when you pull it out and it's there, like, what a great feeling that is. really love making these one-page zines. They're really simple and so fun to make, and you get like an instant reward almost when they come out the printer and you just fold them up. There's something really therapeutic about folding them as well, because you've got to be really precise and careful, because if you're just off a little bit when you come to cut and fold together, as you'll see at the end of this clip, it doesn't work. But when you do it perfectly, it works, and I really like that. I'm actually very messy and unorganised in many, many ways. Even though people think that I'm really organised, I'm not. But I also like things like precision. So it's very strange. I think I've got a very strange brain. So I've been making some new spring packs up, and I'm really excited about them. And I have made 8 new zines, all about flowers. They're so cute, look at them, aren't they lovely? So the spring packs are in my Etsy shop now, and if there's any left, and they're just really lovely. You get 8 new zines, you get a spring zine. And if you've got a copy of this one already, you can message me, and I've got Spring 2 as well available. You also get a lovely bookmark that feels like, oh, it's just really nice. A little print. Now, these are just on thick paper, so they do need framing. They're not like a special art print or anything like that. They're just a little print. You get a little rabbit, and you also get a poem, and there'll also be a spring note in there, handwritten from me to you as well. So I've been really busy this week in the studio. Now, one of my top tips is, if you are a maker like me and you need to take pictures of things, it's really great to get some wallpaper. If you ever see a wallpaper that's like on discount, or even if it's a wallpaper shop where you can take a sample of wallpaper and there's some nice background that would go with whatever you're making, get some, and because it's brilliant for when you're taking pictures of whatever you're selling. So that's what I do. Got this really lovely wallpaper. I got it when I was at uni doing my art degree, and I've kept it ever since because it's so lovely, and I keep thinking, oh, I'll put it up somewhere, but I'm waiting for it to be like my forever home, and then I can put it up in there. It is really nice. Yeah, so I've been making all these zines, and that's really nice. And I've also been painting birdies. So let me show you these. So far I've got a blue tit and an oyster catcher. Aren't they cute? So I started them out graphically on the computer, overlaying things, and so they start out like this. So there's some stamps. Have you seen my stamp collection, my stamp album? I think I've shown it in another video. I got it from the antique centre. Oh my god, it's lovely. Ripped up paper, pressed flowers, all sorts of stuff, and then print them out, and then I paint over them and put gold on them and all sorts of things. So this is what I'm going to be working on over the next few days. Some more paintings of birdies. And when they're all done, we need to scan them in, and then Tom will print them off on his printer upstairs. A lot of creative work is this quiet organising, sorting out, seeing what looks better where, taking pictures, working on the computer, all the things that you need to do for social media. There's so much, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you're running a business, especially a creative one, where you're free to do anything that you actually want to do. It's not like being an accountant and you know that you've got to sort people's books out and do these numbers, and that's what you have to do. Being a creative is so endless and open that sometimes it's quite difficult to know what to do with your days. So it does take some kind of structure. And as creatives, I mean, I'm talking to myself here about myself, I'm not very structured. But there are certain things that you know that you have to do. So for example, when launching a new product, you have to take pictures, you have to make sure it looks good, you have to wait for a sunny day and that the light's good. And it's all part of it. It's all part of the wonderful way of being a creative businesswoman. And there's so much behind the scenes, but a lot of it would look really boring. Now these are the new spring packs that I've made. Aren't they really cute? There are 9 flower zines, a full 32-page spring zine, a bookmark, all sorts of things, little art prints for collaging. Look how cute they are. I'm so happy with them. What is your favourite flower? Tell me in the comments and see if I can make a zine of it. I'm so grateful for this studio space. This was actually our bedroom and now we sleep downstairs in the living room. And having this space to create is such a joy. I did start off on a kitchen table that was a homemade table as well as our kitchen table. So luckily, one of my friends gifted me a printer that she wasn't using, which I was so grateful about, but I've not been able to afford to buy ink because to get a set of ink for this printer it's £59, which is a lot more than our other printer. So we've got 2 printers, one up in Tom's office, and he prints out all my zines, all my paper zines up there. And the reason it's up there is because it won't connect to my computer because I've got a really old computer. But it gets jammed so many times and it's really old. We've had it for years and it's been brilliant. So my friend gifted me this one for doing things like art prints on and all the special kind of things that I need to print out. And this week was the first week where I've been able to buy some printer ink for it. So I've done that and oh my goodness, it works a treat. The quality is perfect. It's really, really good. And I've been printing off my little flower zines on it, and the colour and everything, it's just really nice. I tell you what though, it does take a lot of ink. I have noticed it goes through ink quite a lot, so I'm gonna have to work out the costings on it all to see what they are, because per sheet copy it is a lot dearer than our other Epsom printer. But I am thinking it is worth it for the ease of me being able to do stuff while Tom's at work. And also, if I want to make any nice art prints, I could do that on this as well. So that's really good. So I do recommend it. So far, we'll see the ink situation and I will report back on a future video about how the ink's going and all that kind of thing. But so far, I'm really pleased. And the colours are really nice and they print out really well. So that's really good. Oh, it's all the realies. And then after taking your pictures, it's time to tidy away again and pack everything away. If you watched my video the other week, you'll see that I changed my studio around. And I'm telling you something, having the tables in the middle of the room is really working well. It's actually the perfect configuration because I can do so many things on both sides and it's just easier. So if you're inspired to move your furniture, honestly, I'm telling you, try it because it's made such a difference to the way I create in this space. Look how cute that paper is. I used to think that if a week didn't look exciting, it didn't really count, but this week has taught me something different. If you've had a week where you haven't gone anywhere, you haven't done anything exciting, and it feels like you've just been quietly getting through things, then it's okay. I just want to remind you that that's okay.